Hey, what's up, y'all? So today I wanted to make a more in-depth video just discussing framing and, when you have your guys framing a house, what you should be looking for and how they should kind of do things. That way you have an idea of if the framing they're doing is right or if it's wrong or, what they should be doing different. So I'm gonna start off with the structural stuff and then move more and just to like partition framing, right? So in a house like this, a lot of these joists were existing. So like these are the existing joists, but back here, these floors are rotted out, right? So whenever you have a house and you're replacing a joist or the subfloor, like this is the subfloor, like what I'm standing on here is the subfloor. For joists, I like to use 2x10 joists. They don't have to be pressure treated, it's just regular lumber, right? And then on the subfloor, I like to use 3/4 inch flooring. So let's just say, for example, if I had this floor here existing, right? But this floor is like this, it has like stuff that's messed up on it, and I just want to go over top of it to get like a smooth flooring, then I would use 1/2 inch flooring. But because in this case, there's nothing here already, and you're walking like this is what'll be holding the weight of people that walk on it, I always use 3/4 inch flooring, all right? So then once these joists are in this case, you want to think about like what's holding the load of the wall, meaning like where's the weight from this floor joist being supported at. So in this row home in particular, you see the joists, they go from left to right, right? And if you look like over here, these joists are what I call pocketed into the brick. So they actually sit inside of the brick wall. Like, let me show you what I'm saying. So when you guys put the joist in, if the weight of the house is being supported by the brick walls, you want them to pocket these joists. Like you see how this joist here goes into this pocket. So now that this is done, I have somebody come in and they fill in all the pockets. So they'll put, that's why I still have like this brick here. They'll take this brick, fill this all in, and pocket this joist. So then this joist here, the weight of this joist is being supported by this brick wall. So like you always want to think like where's the weight being supported, right? So brick wall, support, and then like all the other joists like throughout the house are the same way. Like this joist here, you see how it runs inside of the brick wall and it's pocketed in. So then we'll fill all this in and then that joist will be pocketed, right? So here, that was most of the structural stuff. It was just replacing this section here that needed to be replaced, pocketing all of these new joists, and then putting down the subfloor. So the reason why I don't have plywood right here, and I left this open, is because this space still needs to get insulation, right? Because it's nothing under this, it's no basement or anything. So this is outside technically. So I put insulation in these joists, and then also my kitchen is here. So because my kitchen is here, my plumber and my HVAC guy need to be able to run their plumbing lines here and get them into the basement. And then the HVAC guy needs to be able to put his vents out here. So I leave this open, I insulate it, and I'll probably put down plastic and maybe even like what we call a rat slab. So a rat slab is just 2 inches of concrete. So like I'll put a vapor barrier. Vapor barrier is like plastic. I normally use plastic that's 3 mil, and then put down 2-inch slab of concrete as my rat slab, and then I'll put insulation in and close it in. So it's important to remember this because like when you're doing inspections, a lot of times the inspector will want to see that you insulated this properly, and then the mechanical inspector will want to see like my plumbing line. My sink will be back here, so he needs to be able to see that plumbing line come through, and my HVAC will be over here, so they need to see that as well. All right, so while we're in the kitchen, I'll talk about some kitchen framing. So what I like to do in the kitchen is I put these blocks in, and the reason why the blocks are good is because when my guys come to put concrete in, no matter what the kitchen layout is, they don't have to worry about hitting a stud. So let's just say, for example, I had a cabinet and it ends like right here, or it starts here and then it ends here. They would have to find this one stud in particular in order to have something to drill into. But because I had blocks here, they can drill it anywhere in this section and still, find something to attach the cabinet to. So always put blocking in. Another thing is this window here, it was low. And since I have cabinets here, like when I have cabinets and then I have a window like over top of it, so the sink will be here like this, I always like make the height of this window a little higher. So I'll frame this up like 42 inches and then make this window smaller so that when my cabinets come across here, they won't like be in the middle of my window. So those are the main two things in the kitchen, just blocking, and then if you need to raise the window, raise the window. Next, I'll just talk about partition framing, what I call it. So in this case, when the guys are framing up, these walls should be 16 inches on center. Meaning when you measure between studs, it should be 16 inches on center. So like you see the 16, off a tad bit. But the center of this stud should be 16 inches. So 16 inches on center. So you have a bottom plate, which is right here. And then at the top, you have your two top plates right there. And then you have your walls that are 16 inches on center. Now, when you're framing on like the first or second floor or something like that, that's above grade, then this can all just be regular lumber. This is not pressure treated, it's just regular 2x4s. But when you're framing like in a basement, use pressure treated lumber instead. I mean, only for the bottom plate though. Like the plate that goes against the ground should be pressure treated and the rest of it can be just regular lumber. Right? Another thing about partitions. So when you're doing a house, and let's just say you're not doing a whole house over, you probably wouldn't do this. But in a case like this house where I'm framing it all over, a lot of this like framing that's here, like, let me get my pointer. A lot of this framing that's here, like this old stuff, it's not level. So like it's parts of it where like this section might be a little lower or higher than this section, right? So it's like not level. So when you hang your drywall, it's kind of wavy because the ceiling is not level. So what I do is my guys put a chalk line like from here to the end, and they figure out what the lowest point is, and then they hang 2x4s. See, like this chalk line that runs across here, it goes all the way across. And that's how they know where to put their 2x4s at to level the ceiling. So now when they hang the drywall, it'll be leveled up against the ceiling. So this whole ceiling will be level. So when you walk in, it won't have that, that wavy look. Now and again, if you're doing a renovation where you're keeping the ceiling or it's like a lighter renovation, then you probably won't do this. But in the case where you are redoing the whole house and reframing it, then I would say to make it, make it as level as possible. Another thing to consider with this, is less likely to happen because it's new framing. If you have like older framing and you're replacing your windows, I like to measure it at a couple of different places, like along the top, in the middle, and then at the bottom, just to make sure that like it's consistent, because sometimes you could have a window frame that's a little off. Let's say at the bottom it might be 30, and then at the top it might be 29 and a half or something like that, or 29 and 3/4. But you want to order the windows, like you can give them the rough opening size and they normally subtract a 1/4 inch from it. But let's just say if it's 30 at the bottom, and 29 and a half is a big variation, but let's say at the top it is 29 and 3/4, something like that, and you give them 30, and then they make your window 29 and 3/4, then it can be difficult to fit that window in there. So I like to take the measurement that is the smallest measurement, and I use that measurement when I'm ordering my windows. So just measure it in at least like 2 places, the length and the width, to make sure that if the window sill isn't perfectly level where you putting the window at, that you don't order your windows the wrong size, because a lot of times, especially with custom order windows, like they won't return them.